Hello there, all of my fellow deep thinkers, and welcome back to the Deep Thinking YouTube channel, a YouTube channel where we discuss and speculate about the deepest thoughts regarding our universe. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing alien life, and more specifically, what makes a technologically advanced society. So we're basically going to be self-analyzing our own species in a way, and we're also going to be looking at other concepts that individuals have created and basically spectrums of how a civilization may become technologically advanced in the future. So, on this spectrum, we have miniaturizing technology, and technology becoming a lot bigger, and our civilization making a very large impact in the solar system, and then out in the galaxy, and then the universe, etc, etc. So, we'll start off with the Kardashev scale, which was proposed by Nikolai Kardashev in 1964. So, a Type 1 civilization is essentially what we're heading towards, and we are apparently, it's been speculated that we are 0.7 on the Kardashev scale. Type 1 would be able to use and control all of the energy of their planet and resources. Not all of the resources have been used up, but we are able to use it to the most efficient way possible. And then a Type 2 civilization will be able to use the entirety of the energy of their host star and traverse throughout the solar system. So, you know, we're setting up colonies on Mars, and we're using all of the other celestial objects in the solar system in the most optimal way. Then after that, a Type 3 civilization is a civilization that basically has the ability to host an entire galaxy. So essentially we get into basically like Star Wars, Dune, you know, Star Trek, all of these style of science fiction TV programs. We're kind of starting to get to this level when you get to the Kardashev scale. With the Kardashev scale, the further along you get, the more unlikely it seems to be that any of these societies actually exist, because either they would be 100% hiding themselves from us, or we should see them. You know, we should see some evidence of a society if there is a galaxy spanning one. We would know if our galaxy was inhabited by a massive species that literally colonized the entirety of the galaxy, unless they didn't want us to know, unless we're in a zoo hypothesis style of situation, which of course means that, you know, we're being specifically observed and the nature of our species has been manipulated with. We'll move on to Type 4. A Type 4 civilization is able to use the energy on a universal scale and can likely manipulate space-time. So essentially, they're crazy. They can do so much stuff. They can do anything in the universe that the universe permits, basically, essentially. And they would have, their whole civilization would be spanning across the universe. It's likely that this would be some form of galactic empire, hell, even universal empire, because no species would be able to spread itself across the entirety of a universe and meaningfully communicate with each other unless some form of communication that transcends space and time is created, because, you know, it's going to take a hell of a long time for messages to be received, you know. It's going to take a long time. So either it's just different colonies and different sectors of this species went off and now they're living their own lives, they've got their own different laws and stuff that they have, or, you know, it's something crazy. But this is one that we should notice 100%. The entirety of the universe is being manipulated and used by a species. Come on, why do we not know this? If this is a thing, like, I'm just asking you, please, aliens, where are you? Where are you? But, like, show us that you're here. Like, you know, give us a hand, you know? Or are you just trying to make us not do any bad decisions, like creating artificial intelligence? Like, is there a reason? Basically, if essentially these super advanced societies do exist, there has to be a reason that they would not interject with our species and like have kind of shown themselves. But also, we should see techno-signatures and biosignatures from these civilizations, because such a big civilization will make an impact in the universe. You will be able to see them. You know, if they start using up entireties of stars and they use it for all of its energy, we would start to see voids like the Boots void and all these big voids forming. But we know that voids can form naturally. You know, it's just not a whole load of galaxies and are in a certain area, so we know that it can form naturally. But you would sort of be able to tell that it's an unnatural forming one. So essentially, they're probably hiding themselves. And this is one that, why would you even be able to know this one? A Type 5 civilization would be able to harness energy from the multiverse and potentially even travel throughout the multiverse. So in a sense, you know, they're like some kind of Marvel TV show character. Like, they can literally just go universe to universe and you know, use stars from that universe that aren't being used by any other species, and that's when multiversal wars would start occurring, and people trying to steal resources from each other. Because essentially, if the universe is not infinite and this universe is finite, the resources are likely finite. Even if the universe is infinite, like space and time is infinite, doesn't mean that atoms are and all of the resources in the universe are infinite either. So, advanced societies may opt to adapt technology if the multiverse exists and traverse the multiverse looking for resources, like if they run out because their society is so huge. Like, it does not seem likely that a civilization would get to that level of technology, but it's potential. There's potential that it could be a thing. But so we've now analyzed as many of the types of civilizations on the Kardashev scale that even really matter. The other ones are just like there's no point talking about the other ones. I honestly, after like type 4, you're basically a god. You are, like, you can use the universe when you can travel the multiverse, and like all these, I guess, lower life forms. Bear in mind, I have like done a quotation mark with my fingers there. Would not be able to even comprehend your existence, likely, if you're a multi-dimensional entity, as some rappers might say. Anyway, we'll go on to the Microdimensional Mastery proposed by John D. Barrow. He basically observed that humans found it more cost-effective to extend their abilities to manipulate their environment over increasingly small scales rather than increasingly large ones. Therefore, he proposed a reverse classification downwards from type 1- to type Omega-, and now we will discuss those. So, a type 1- is capable of manipulating objects over the scale of themselves. So, for example, building structures, mining, etc., etc. So, of course, we know we can do that. Type 2- is capable of manipulating genes and altering the development of living things. For example, replacing parts of themselves and engineering genetic code. A type 3- is capable of manipulating molecules and molecular bonds and creating new materials. And a type 4- is capable of manipulating individual atoms, creating nanotechnologies on the atomic scale, and creating complex forms of artificial intelligence. So it's believed that we are somewhere in between type 3- and type 4-. So somewhere in between, we can do the molecules and molecular bonds and creating new material, and we're somewhere in between that and manipulating individual atoms and creating nanotechnology on the atomic scale, and creating complex artificial life. So essentially a general artificial intelligence that can consciously think for itself. So a type 5- is capable of manipulating the atomic nucleus and engineering the nucleons that compose it. So that's an interesting one. And type 6 is capable of manipulating the most elementary particles of matter, quarks and leptons, to create organized complexity among populations of elementary particles, culminating in the type Omega-, which is capable of manipulating the basic structure of space and time. So essentially we get to the same level as about type 4 on the Kardashev scale, except, the Kardashev scale, is much vast. Like, for example, on this one, where we could be at like 3.5 or like 3.3 or 3.7 or whatever it is, but we know on the Kardashev scale we're only 0.7 because we haven't used the planet for its, to its most optimal level. But to me, the one that makes the most sense is the minor scale, because it does seem as if we are, shrinking technology and things are starting to become more involved. People are trying to innovate things more with nanotechnologies, and for example, our star system may be littered with alien life, and we have no idea about it because it's all on the atomic level nanotechnology. So it could be, for example, the von Neumann self-replicating probes could be in our solar system, but they're just at the atomic level, and we have no idea what we're looking for or how to detect them. And these things could have 3D printers, could 3D print a being at any point that they need to just tell us to stop doing whatever the hell we're doing. For example, like I say, if we're trying to create artificial intelligence, because Artificial intelligence seems like one where creating a generalized artificial intelligence, which is a conscious thinking one, does not seem the greatest idea, as, you know, of course we need something, or want something, that can think, you know, on a greater level than humanity can, because obviously we're restricted by the body in which we inhabit. Potentially we can make modifications to our brains, make modifications to our bodies, and, you know, extend our life. But we can only do so much, to our knowledge. Potentially anything could be possible. We don't really know that, but it all just depends on what can be done within the parameters of the universe in which we live. So that's what we have to discover. We have to discover all of the different things that we can do to change our environment and manipulate things and try and, I guess, move on to the best trajectory for our species without, you know, messing everything entirely up and creating a very, you know, terrifying universe for people to exist in. The problem is with speculation about aliens is it's really hard to know, but it's a super interesting topic. So if you enjoy the discussion and speculation of alien life, of the multiverse, other universe theories, history, anything to do with the human species and the psychology of it, and just navigating your way through this bizarre universe, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. I really appreciate you all for sticking by. I appreciate all the support. I love you all so very, very much, and peace out. Have a wonderful day.